Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most powerful and frankly sneakiest forces shaping our reality. It's called confirmation bias, and it's the reason you and I can look at the exact same world and see completely different things. And this quote from Michael Shermer, wow, it just hits the nail on the head. This isn't about being smart or not smart. It's about how even the most brilliant minds can get tripped up by a feature that's literally built into our brains. Hello to all viewers of my channel. In today's explainer, we are diving deep into this cognitive bias that, believe me, affects every single one of us every single day. So let's start with the big question. What is this invisible force really? All right, let's kick things off with section 1. What is confirmation bias? We need to get a really clear handle on what we're talking about here. So here's the official definition. Confirmation bias, which some people also call my side bias, is basically our brain's tendency to roll out the red carpet for any information that already agrees with us. And notice, it's a whole process. It changes how we search for information, how we understand it, and even what we end up remembering. But let's put it in simpler terms. The best way to think about it is like having your own internal yes man. You know, that little voice in your head that's always eager to agree with you, constantly patting you on the back and saying, "See, I knew it. You were right all along." Okay, so how does this yes man actually operate? Well, in section 2, we're going to look at what I call the biased search for proof. Because the first and maybe the most important way this works is in how we go looking for information to begin with. And this is the part that's really wild. We aren't just passive observers, stumbling across things that happen to support our views. No, we are active hunters. We actually frame our questions. We type our Google searches in a way that's designed to give us the answer we're already hoping for. It's kind of like being the detective who's already picked the bad guy before even dusting for prints. Check out this incredible experiment that shows this in action. Researchers gave people a made-up child custody case. You've got two parents. Parent A is, fine, just totally average. But parent B is a mix of highs and lows. They have a really amazing relationship with the child, but their job means they travel a ton. When the question was, who should get custody? Guess what? Most people picked parent B. They zoomed right in on that big positive, the great relationship. But here's the twist. They gave another group the exact same two parents, the exact same facts, but asked a totally different question. Who should be denied custody? All of a sudden, the tables turned. Most people chose to deny parent B. Why? Because the question's framing sent them on a hunt for negatives, and suddenly, that frequent travel became the most important piece of evidence. I mean, think about that for a second. The facts were identical. Nothing changed except the wording of the question. It's just a brilliant, kind of scary illustration of how the way we search for proof can completely change the answer we find. And it gets even deeper. Let's move on to section 3, interpreting reality your way. Because it's not just about the information we find, it's about what our brain does with it. Even when we're all staring at the exact same set of facts, our biases can make us see completely different things. This was shown so powerfully in a famous study out of Stanford. Researchers brought in two groups of people. One group was passionately for the death penalty, the other was passionately against it. They gave both groups the exact same studies to read, and the evidence in them was mixed. It was ambiguous, pointing in both directions. So what happened? Did they meet in the middle? No way. Both groups came away more convinced than ever that they were right. They just picked out the parts that supported their side and basically ignored the rest. This effect has a name. It's called attitude polarization, and it's a huge deal. It means that when you give two opposing sides mixed evidence, instead of bringing them closer, you can actually drive them even further apart. Each side doubles down, their beliefs get stronger, and the gap between them just gets wider. So this all leads to a really important question in section 4. Why on earth do our brains do this? Why do they take these shortcuts? Well, it turns out it's not really a bug in our system. It's more like a feature that can seriously backfire. You have to remember, our brains are getting bombarded with an insane amount of information every single second of the day. To even function, they had to evolve these little mental shortcuts called heuristics, and confirmation bias is one of the biggest ones. It's a super fast, efficient way to process the world, even if it's not always the most accurate. When you break it down, there are really two main drivers. You've got the cold, cognitive reason. Our brains are just trying to save energy and processing power. But then there's the hot, motivational reason. We actually want our beliefs to be true. It just feels good to be right. Being wrong is uncomfortable. So we're emotionally driven to find evidence that says, yep, you got it right. So let's get to the so what of it all. Section 5, the real world consequences. Because this isn't just some quirky thing our brains do. This bias has huge, real world impacts on pretty much every part of our lives. I mean, it's everywhere. From the political echo chambers we live in online, to how a doctor makes a diagnosis, to how a jury decides someone's fate in a courtroom. It fuels the political divides we see every day. It can lead to mistakes in medicine, and it can even mess with scientific research. Take finance for a second. An investor gets it in their head that a certain stock is the next big thing. Thanks to confirmation bias, they start looking for and finding all the positive news about that company. They'll read every glowing article and dismiss any warning signs, like a bad earnings report. This can make them hold on to a failing stock way too long, leading to, you guessed it, huge financial losses. Okay, so that brings us to our final and most important section, thinking beyond your bias. The big question is, are we just stuck with this? Can we do anything about it? And the good news is, while you can't just switch it off, you can absolutely learn to manage it. And here are 3 really practical steps you can take. Number 1, just acknowledge the yes man is there. Seriously, just knowing this bias exists is half the battle. 2, actively seek out people and ideas that disagree with you. Don't just stay in your comfort zone. Go find the smartest argument against your position. And 3, this is a big one. Before you make an important decision, force yourself to genuinely consider the opposite. Ask, what if everything I believe about this is wrong? What would that look like? Look, outsmarting our own internal yes man is not easy work, but it's absolutely essential if we want to make better decisions and see the world a little more clearly. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Which of your own beliefs will you decide to challenge today? I really hope this look into confirmation bias gave you some food for thought. Subscribe to the channel and like this, and also suggest your topics for future videos in the comments. We'd love to hear what other big ideas you want us to tackle next. Thanks so much for joining me.